Hello Tarot fans, welcome to another edition of Blue Sicx Tarot. I'm your fantastic host Blue Sicx. Thank you very much for watching. Now before we get into the main part of the video, I would just like to say thank you for everyone who's been recently subscribing and been following me since the very beginning. We've now reached 500 subscribers and it means the world. I really appreciate every subscriber, every comment. I appreciate you all. Thank you. You guys are amazing. But if you do wind up liking these videos, and especially this video, if you do wind up enjoying these, you can also follow me on the social medias. And now we're going to be doing an unboxing of the Star Spinner Tarot. Without further ado, roll on that intro. Okay, so first of all, I actually came across this whilst looking for another deck. That wasn't actually available on Amazon. I can't remember what deck that was now, but it wasn't on Amazon, so I came across this instead, and I thought it looked pretty cool. So first of all, we're just going to grab the tape measure. So let's just have a quick look. So the box itself is 5 inches high and 3.5 inches across. So judging by the top of it, I'd probably say that's supposed to be the wheel or the Wheel of Fortune. Also, I'm interested to see because it's 81 cards, so that will be very interesting to see those extras. I always like a deck that has a few extra. On the side, we've got the Queen of Coins there. On the back, we have the Fool, the Sun, and Judgment. Can't quite see it properly there, but you also got the information there. So we'll have a quick move with the packaging. Also, we've got the Magician on the side there. So this is another one of those decks where the box looks really nice. Another really nice thing to have on display. We'll just quickly open this. I usually do this beforehand, so let's just open this up. Come on, there we are. Okay, so also I wasn't able to actually find my box cutting knife. So here we have the actual out of the wrapping. That's a bit of there you go, got a bit of glue stuck on the edge there. Okay, so also like on the top and the bottom you have pentacles as well. So it's a hard box. Okay. So looks like we start off just with the Fool there. It looks like the book is at the bottom, and there's this nice little picture of, that's probably the world, and this is actually kind of sticking out a bit, so kind of sorry to try and make the box itself, the cards in the box, keep them nice and still. So we'll just pull the ribbon, so move the box out the way. It's a nice little and in the box there, so this is kind of like a dark lavender sort of look to it. So we'll take a look at the cards in a second. Although the back looks really nice, and that's a nice little shimmer to that as well. It's not actually the light that's doing that, that's actually a nice bit of shimmer on the back. So we'll take a look at the book. Don't worry, don't usually look at the book for too long. So let's have a quick look. So the book itself just goes through the description of what the cards are, a few different spreads, and then the breakdown. So they are broken down as wands, chalices, cups, and coins. So obviously some do change them from chalices to cups or coins and pentacles. And let's have a quick look at some of the spreads. I'm always interested in spreads. Okay, so we just have your single card, 4 card, the representative of the querent, past, present, future. The Celtic Cross, a classic, although I've discovered there are 2 versions of that, and we'll just go straight to the Major Arcana. So by the looks of it, it's literally just the upright and reversed, and nothing really in between, no greater description, and a full page black and white picture of the card itself. So we're going to now take a quick look at the deck itself. I'm always, as I said, I'm always intrigued when I see extra cards. So first off, we have the Fool. So the back, so the cards themselves feel quite smooth. The cardstock itself feels quite firm, so not too papery. It feels, I said, it feels more like card than paper. I always like the Fool. I do like to see variants of the Fool when it's not just a jester, but it looks like we've kind of got the image of the Fool in yellow there, and it's and their surroundings with this nice pattern here. So I have the Magician, and the Magician kind of doesn't look too classical, I guess. He's got a really cool pointed hat. Still got all the different articles there. I've got the coin, the sword, the wand, and the cup. The background is a bit chaotic with all the cards behind him. Okay, so the High Priestess. I like the day and night bit there. Looks pretty cool. The two different pillars, one white and one yellow, which is interesting because they're usually black. It's usually like black and white, nice salt and pepper sort of dynamic to them. I like the fact that her head is haloed as well. It's pretty good. And you've got the moon symbol there. Empress with the wheat and a wheat scepter, as it were, as well, which I think is good. In fact, she's Afro-Caribbean as well, which is interesting. So we're already expecting a kind of variant in representation here. If you're a person who's if you're a person who looks for representation. Also, same with the Emperor, with the sun there. I like his throne with the eagle, because it's usually with a goat. Also, I like the clouds there as well. So then we've got the Hierophant. Cool beard. I like the fact he's got his two keys on a keychain, on a loop. And now, I was kind of very dubious about how the backgrounds would look, but I like how the backgrounds are similar but varied enough to the individual card. I've got the Lovers. I always like the two. I like the fact the angel or Cupid is in the background rather than being a part of the main picture. That's pretty cool. And I'm always fond of seeing apples when it comes to the Lovers there. Oh, sorry, the Lovers. That was... Oh, there are two Lovers. Ah, okay. This I like. Okay, so... Well, I can already see why there's extra cards. Okay, so we've got two male Lovers. I think these two are male and female. Unsure, but we'll just keep going. Ah, and two women as well. Okay. And also the fact that... I'm going to be going back to this now. And also the fact that we've got male and female, two males and two females, and the background's still different. So they're not just copy and pasting. They're not doing the what's it called? Doing the Royal Tarot. Each background, same card, different people, but still a different background as well. So this I like. So for those of you who don't really know the system for this, when they add extra cards with different characters in them, so in this regard with three Lovers cards, that is ostensibly so you can kind of chop and change depending on who you're doing a reading for, depending on if you know their sexuality or gender identity. So essentially, I would have these three cards as on a separate pile, and then if I know their leanings, then I can edit this deck to suit them. Oh, and another Lovers. Okay, this is good. I'm liking this. I guess it might to be highlight an interracial thing as well. I don't know, but still, it's pretty cool. So I'm intrigued to see where else they're gonna change up the formula a bit. It might just be those, but we'll see. So you've got the Chariot with two cats rather than sphinxes, which I think is pretty cool. He looks kind of chill there. The Chariot is kind of like interestingly decorated. So you've got, hold on. So you've got Fortunate instead of Strength. That I think is an interesting twist, interesting take rather. Still got the line in the background. Yeah, so the Fortunate, I think, is quite an interesting way. As I said, it might explain it differently in the book. I'll be interested to see. So you've got the Hermit. Very rarely do at least the decks I own, is the Hermit as a Buddhist monk. With his, I don't actually know the term. I will say scepter or staff, but there's probably a better, more accurate term. But I think that's quite nice as well. The Wheel of Fate, kind of cool there. So 2 angels in a spiral, and you just got the evil, what I think is the evil eye, just all around them, which I think is kind of cool. Justice, a 6-winged angel, which is always nice because they just tend to make it just a standard judge or something. But yeah, that looks pretty cool. I like also how her hair is part of the background there. Hanged Man. He has a kind of trickster sort of look to him there. I still like the fact they've got the apples in the tree as well. I just like apples. And I like the fact his body is haloed rather than just his head. We've got the Death. That's interesting. So obviously you've got the poppies, which is representative of the Great War. The fact Death's holding a baby, I think, is kind of interesting, in the fact that death brings new life. Temperance. I like the floating crown. I love the design of the wings. I think the wings look really cool in this one. I like the flowers as well. Then you've got the Devil. The Devil themselves doesn't look particularly interesting in there, so nothing too dramatic, but I guess accurate depending on how you look at it. But I still like the fact you've got 2 people up in chains behind them, so that's pretty cool. Still kind of have that, it doesn't have that addiction quality, but it does have the self-restraint one. Oh, now the Tower, that looks cool. I like the structure of the building. I don't know I'm not good with architecture, but I like the fact that that's not like standard European, with the columns. I think that looks pretty cool. The background has a really good storm, has a good feeling of like a massive storm, so that's really cool. And the star, I think that looks quite elegant for the star. They're kind of, when you're pouring water, when it's just a representative of pouring water around, it's cool. I like the crane in the background as well. I think that's a crane, I'm not quite sure. The moon. Okay, that's cool. And with the rabbit. So what was it? I think, and so I like the Japanese feel to it. The Japanese woman in it with the pagodas in the background. That looks really cool. I do like that. That was it. There's a moon goddess. I think there is a story where a goddess, the short version, goddess given mortality with her husband, and then she winds up getting her divine powers back, but she's not allowed to go back to heaven, nor can she stay on the earth, so she stays on the moon instead, and her husband looks up at the moon every night. That's the short version. I like that being the sun. That's pretty cool. It's nice, bright, dynamic. I like the fact you've got the birds looking like the red arrows. Judgment, which you saw on the back of the box. And I don't know, with the spirals you do get that, it does have that feeling of like sound waves, so you can kind of see the sound, which is pretty cool. I've got a crumb there. And then you've got the world, which you saw earlier on the back. So you just have people representing the different corners. I always forget what those ones are. Right, so now we go on to the minors. So this will be interesting. So I've liked the basic colour scheme as well. So there's not been a lot of massive blending of colours, but more kind of just blocks and shades. So there's always an outline between each shade. But yeah, I quite like this. So okay, so kind of a nice little fairy over some flowers, and with the 2 wands. So okay, so it looks like the wands are just going to be fairies, sprites and pixies ostensibly. Also I like the muted tones. It's just the standard yellow, and the only other detail is being the other characters in this. So this looks quite nice. That's an interesting one for the 5 of Wands. but I still like it. So it doesn't look like this will be. So this is definitely not a deck for beginners. I probably should have noticed that earlier, but considering how some of these miners look, these aren't necessarily for beginners. Once again, this is probably a deck for. This will probably be like deck number 4 or 5 once you get used to some of the others. I like the Peter Pan looking kid there as well. That's pretty cool. The standard style of the 8 of Wands. So I do like this. I do like that. I do like their take on this. I think it's really cool. Oh, that one looks lovely. I love that. That one I like. It's really cool. I'm really drawn to that one. I really like that one. Okay, so so as we have a P, so the P is for page. I just love these. I love this. It's really cool. So we've got the Knight on a Sparrow. That's pretty cool. Knight of Wands on the Sparrow. The Queen of Wands. Okay, either that's a pixie lion or she's really big. And the King. Okay, the King is just the crow. That's pretty cool. I mean, nothing like Brandon Lee, of course, but yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I mean, because the King doesn't necessarily have to be male or humanoid or what have you. Neither do any of the court cards, really, depending on the theme. Okay, now for the Ace of Chalices, I like the fact that it's just a person holding. It's a full body. There's a full body there. It's not just a hand holding a cup, like it was with the Ace of Wands. So I like that. Nice little mermaid sort of look. So obviously now we're just going into mermaids. This looks really pretty. I love how the hair kind of tangles up. Not tangles, but kind of interweaves as well. That's really nice. So that does look really nice. So once again, it looks like as it's underwater, the backgrounds are basically going to be the same. But I like the fact you've got the heart in this one and in the previous. And as I said, the hair's not tangled up, but I like the idea of having 3 different shades as well. But then that's kind of consistent with what we've seen earlier. Okay, so we kind of like a Little Mermaid sort of appearance there, looking on into the castle. I like the weaver with the hair as well. And once again, another apple tree. I'm probably focusing more on apples than I really should. So the 5, that looks like a very interesting take. Are they with all these merfolk being swept up in a massive wave and them on the shore there, and still the bird up in the moon as well looks really nice. 6, yeah, it's kind of cool. Most of it's about themselves because that one looks quite young, or comparatively young. Like all the fish in the hair there as well, looks really good. So once again, I do like the little fish in the background of this one, and the flowers again. Some of the clouds as well. The shades of pink are quite lovely in this as well. It's always quite. It feels quite relaxing and serene. Let's see. And similar again, really, to one of the previous cards with the woman looking at the castle. It's slightly different, but. Given it's an 8, the context is a bit different, I guess. Oh, that one looks pretty cool. Nice little ballerina there. Once again, at the castle. Feathers and winged helmet, like a winged hat. That's quite good as well. Also with the pink at the bottom as well, giving that feeling of elation, the feeling of positivity in a negative area. That's a lot of wings for a for a mermaid. That one's lovely. With a nice combination of colours in this one. So we've got the page. Oh, little puppy. That little puppy. Oh, that's adorable. Little cabin there. Nice trees. That was an interesting take on that one, rather than the page looking at a fish in water. A little puppy's doing that. It's quite nice. The knight there. A little dagger, I think, is kind of cool, rather than just like a massive sword. Once again, it does have that kind of romance sort of element to him as well. Just kind of how he's kind of looking at the cup there. It's quite nice. the Queen with miniature blue whales. Actually, it's quite interesting. And it's usually the King and Queen usually depicted with dolphins, but blue whale's pretty cool. Also, the fact that she's holding a nice ship there as well. That's pretty interesting. The King being a dragon, cool. As I said, not quite what I was expecting, and I guess that makes sense considering the last King we saw. Got the ace there. This time back to the classic look with the hand coming out of the clouds. Oh, this one looks quite good with two people dueling, or it's just the same person. But either way, this was a very nice look with that, with the crescent moon as well. Another traditional style of the Three of Swords. I do like the little shine bit there. It's pretty nice. Well, this one's quite interesting with the fact that there is no colour to the person at all there. It's quite nice. The fact the sword underneath is kind of hard to see is a bit odd, but once again, still within theme. Well, that one's pretty cool. More like, because this looks similar to the Seven of Swords, but just in the fact that they're getting swords out of a skull, feeling more like helping defeat. So that feels slightly different there to the traditional. This version seems to have a bit more sorrow and regret in it. The fact the swords are in the water rather than on the boat feels like it's more heading towards or away from the issue. But the fact that you've got once again you've got the moon in the circle there. This is more of a traditional look at the Seven. There's not really much I can say to that, but I do like the fact the swords are still quite brightly coloured compared to the rest of the card. This is a very nice looking eight with what looks like a harpy. I like the fact the ribbon is kind of free floating rather than just tied around their face. Oh, this one's good. Nice little addition with the little kind of demon imp sort of thing going on there. I do like that's a nice little addition. Okay, once again, it being a bird, a peacock or a peahen, being stamped. It always feels a bit stronger when it's an animal. So another like Peter Pan looking sort of kid, but question for adventure. The fact that they're just plain white, I think is kind of interesting. This looks kind of, I was going to say Valkyrie-esque, but not quite. But still, there's a lot of prominence and strength of this one, I feel. That's a petal, okay. This one's also an interesting one because you don't tend to get snakes in with the courts. It's nothing worse than being caught by the snake. Anyway, and the fact that she's eating the flowers, that's a very interesting take. And but yeah, that's a very different look on that. And then the king, being another bird. I'm not very good with birds. I was going to make a joke there, but I'm not going to. So then we move on to the last of the coins. Once again, more of a standard look, more of a traditional look to that. This one I quite like. This one looks quite nice. The shades of green are quite nice. The kind of ocean green there as well, kind of blue green. That's quite nice. The fact that the coins are floating and the hair's kind of wavy. That one's quite nice. This is quite an interesting one. More of a genie. That's pretty cool. For some reason I was thinking this more being the 4, but this is a very interesting look on the 3. But that's really cool. I like the yellow and gold sort of look to them as well. That's quite an interesting one. Once again, kind of deviating from the traditional. So as I said before, this wouldn't really be a deck this wouldn't be a good first deck. But still, the kind of Rapunzel sort of look going on there. and the coins being all over the not this isn't like a classic style. I think it's quite cool. This one's a very beautifully done card with the ice coin of all things. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it feels like they're being with the ice cream sort of more being taken away or being led away, or at least convinced to leave. But at the same time, it's a very beautiful looking card compared to some of the others. Not saying the others are bad, it's just the artistry in this one is quite astounding. This one's quite nice. In fact, you've got strawberries in this one, and this doesn't necessarily have that charity feel to it. So this is a card that's kind of doing its own thing, theme-wise, but still that one looks quite nice. Kind of nice anime sort of anime girl sort of thing. Okay, that's a lot of geese, geese or swans for the 7. Not quite as I would imagine once again a classic 7 to be. So this is a very different take on that. The 8 of coins. I'm always quite fond of this one. Another thing I've noticed is that some of the themes on this kind of varying. So this is kind of like a modern look, whilst the others we've had medieval and fantasy and stuff like that. But yeah, I've always been quite fond of the 8 of coins. But yeah, I like this one with them being clocks. 9, very beautifully done there with the various colours, contrasts. The owl is interesting because it's usually like an eagle or a hawk, but this being an owl, might be an owl hawk. I don't know if that's even a real thing now I've said that out loud. But yeah, this one's once again a kind of like a 80s anime sort of look to it as well, so I think it's quite nice. 10, I've never been a fan of the 10. It still has that. It's as classic as it's as classic as you can get really, without the people in the background there. But you've got the Kepra symbol there. I think it's the Kepra. I've probably said that wrong. Then you've got the page, which is interesting. A woman in a 30s style dress in a garden, which is quite nice. I like the fact there's feels like there's a bit more detail and colour in the background than with her. But as I said, the colour schemes on this are really lovely. Similar principle with the knight. So for me, this kind of feels basically the same. It's just that they're dressed differently. So there doesn't feel like there's a lot of difference between the two there, outside of the genders, obviously. Queen of Coins, holding a nice little rabbit there. Quite a young looking queen as well. But yeah, love the kind of Beauty and the Beast Belle sort of dress there as well. And the flower in her hair. This and just in a really nice garden. Not really on a overly decorative throne, but still a lovely garden. And last we've got the king, who is a rabbit. Not a lot really going on with them. I mean, it's still ostensibly the same background, but this is still that's a very angry looking rabbit. Very angry. Yeah, so this has been the unboxing of the Star Spinner Tarot. Overall, I think this is a very lovely deck. So this is basically like the first deck I've purchased in the year. So roll on 2021. But yeah, this is a really nice deck. Definitely recommend this. Once again, not for beginners. I said the cardstock's lovely. If you can get a hold of this, go for it. I'll pick this up on Amazon. And once again, I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And I'll catch you all on the flip side.